My very first review for 2024 is a Netflix original series called The Brother's Son. It's 8 episodes, over 8 hours long, each episode ranging in different time lengths. But I'm here to talk about whether it's worth you spending the time getting to know the characters in the first few episodes and whether it can stick the landing. My top tip before we jump in is that if you're gonna spend time, you're gonna watch the whole 8 episodes, maybe watch until the end of the credits, because there's an end credit scene that'll help you have an idea of what they might want to do with the next part of the story. But don't worry, there is an absolutely contained story in this series. Let's jump in. The series follows a Taipei gangster, Charles' son, who's settled into his life as a ruthless killer. But when his father is shot by a mysterious assassin, Charles must go to LA to protect his mother and utterly unaware younger brother Bruce. So this is cast as a comedy action drama, and I would say for the most part, it absolutely is that. It nails the head on each of those genres.
You do have a nail in your head.
It is not about the nail.
It's far funnier than I expected it to be. The scripting is much more enjoyable than I expected it to be, in amongst the action choreographed, and when you do get the action, it's incredible. Like, really well paced, and the camera zooms out. You do have some fast cuts, but for the most part you get to see all of the action, which is what you want when you are shown action. So many times there are fight sequences in TV series that they cut so often or so fast that you don't get to see what's happening, which is frustrating, especially when you know that the people on screen look like they can handle themselves. What you get here is brutal fight scenes in the way that it showcases a John Wick style to put down the enemy as quick as possible. We have that comedy that counteracts the drama of the story, which is centered on the family, which is the characters that we focus on. Michelle Yeoh is the draw here, which is what I knew about the series. Like anything Michelle Yeoh is in, I think you're going to enjoy it for the acting premises. If you're coming into this expecting Michelle Yeoh to be the martial artist that she has been in previous movies like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon,
it took just one night to bring me back.
That is not what is showcased here. It's more her acting expertise. She's showcasing being a mother and having left the world behind and now been thrust back into that world. We also get Justin Chen, who plays Charles' son. He lost his mother and brother at very young. In that synopsis you can understand, and so he is thrust also almost similar to a fish out of water sort of storyline, where he gets to meet a brother he hasn't seen for 15 years, a mother that he hasn't seen for 15 years. Everything that he lost when that family spread apart is that story that we're getting with him. So although he is a ruthless assassin killer and is known for it, as the episodes go along, we get to see him coming into his own, almost more human-like. Apart from the Terminator killer, an amazing fighter that he is, we get to see some old sort of emotions spring up, especially with the reveal of a past relationship that he comes into. And the thing that makes me like him even more is him wanting to be a baker. So there's things that really kind of showcase, make our characters more human. And that baker bit really helps kind of add to the quiver of giving us an insight that these aren't just killers, they're human people too. And then of course we get the younger son, who knows nothing about this world that his family is in. Sam Song Lee plays Bruce's son, and I have to say I loved this character. He's the happy-go-lucky guy that is thrust into a world that he didn't know he was a part of until everything is kind of revealed in a very drastic way. And I think his performances of being again the fish out of water into this world showcases that he's wanting to prove himself to be the man that his brother thinks that he needs to be, and vice versa. His brother wants to be more human for his brother. The mother is struggling with those kind of eccentricities of both worlds clashing, wanting to keep her son separate from the violent world of the past, wanting to make up for lost time with her one son, but also still trying to keep that separate. And as these worlds start colliding together, that is when we get the most drama, the most comedy, and the most action. I think every episode has its length purposely. You'll notice that every bit of time in these episodes are different length of time. Not because they were like, please cut off here. It's because they've told the story for that chapter that they want to tell, then they move on to it. When you get the action heavy sequences for a particular thing that's, rising to a crescendo or crux, when these groups are meeting together, these bad guy groups are meeting together and things are going to kick off, you know you're going to get something spectacular. In kitchen fighting, knife fighting, gun fu at play, and you feel about it because they've spent a good amount of time in the drama getting to know the characters. And that's why this sticks with me. That's why I was on board for most of the episodes. And I would say there's a lull, not in the middle where there's normally a lull, towards the end, probably episode 6-ish. They spend a lot of time with characters because we're about to go into the last 2 episodes. Episode 7 is like an hour and 10 minutes long. Last 2 episodes, which is the big kind of finale, the big action sequences that they're building up. Everything's coming to a head. You know how they write that. Everybody knows each other. The audience knows the characters. We kind of know what's in play. And they suddenly slow down the pacing and really get us to know the backstory. And I felt like that even though it was slowed down, it was the perfect time and moment for us to know these characters. We get to see Michelle Yeoh having some amazing emotional chops in these moments as we are revealed as to why or how she ended up in this place. Very nice puzzle piecing together, the puzzle piecing of a 3-tiered act, even though we have 8 episodes, very well positioned so that you get the action, you get the know-how of the characters, you get the world and the law and the rules with these sort of gangs that are not what they used to be. The sensibilities of what they used to be have changed, and that's why we have a lot more of this kind of, I guess, pushing of people who are in charge, headbutting because they want to do things one way, and then there are other people that want to do things another way. So we have the gangs that are in charge. We have the police that are also trying to obviously get in the way. And then we have a new group of people that want to do things their way. And this all could be very messy and all over the place. But because the story focuses almost 100% on the family, in amongst all those things going on, we understand what's going on, but then we also have emotional ties. I think the acting from the whole family is fantastic, but I can't not talk about some of the sidekicks. They're not really sidekicks, but some of the side characters that don't get as much screen time. There's Jun Lee, who plays TK. He's the sort of guy that wants to be gangster but isn't really. But there's a nice emotional arc to his storyline. All the side characters get enough story for you to care about. And even the new bad guys, you kind of care about their plight. They're not just bad guys for the sake of being evil. They're bad guys because there's a reason why they're doing things and you can understand why that is. So they're given enough depth to our characters to go, yeah, what they're doing in slicing people's throats. Nobody's really like good guy, but there's levels of understanding of what people are doing. That's really clever writing for your characters. There are 2 other characters of note here that aren't main protagonists. Toy Lai, who plays Auntie Victoria. She's this person that will never betray the family members, and she's very stoic, very stark. And in contrast, we have Jong Zhu Zhang, who plays Blood Boot.
American.
Who's funny. He's the uncle that you want to be at the family gathering because he's funny, listens, he makes you feel better, and in a fight you want him there because he's badass. He was my favorite side character and one of like my top 3 best characters in this series. Very charismatic. Now this series does have a sort of protection for the main characters, like plot protection in places, but it also is not afraid to pull punches in the drama or take out some of the characters that you thought maybe were going to stay in. So that gives you an emotion or a fright of maybe not all the characters I am rooting for are going to survive, which makes you even more invested. Very clever storyline. You can guess what things are going to happen for the most part. It's not the most revealing or original story. You've seen similar stuff like this before, but it's very enjoyable for how it's showcased, what the cinematography looks like, with the action and the drama, with the actors, with tight dialogue that is far funnier than I expected it to be. I was genuinely impressed with this series. Not that it does something out of the box or new, because there's no real medium that's gonna in entertainment that's gonna do anything new, because everything's been done. But the way you do a story that we've seen before, making you care about what the audience is watching, that is when you get me. And I go, yeah, okay. So I'm gonna give this a solid 4.5 Nicolas Cages out of 5.
You got one. Congratulations.
Fighting's great violence when there needs to be, score is awesome, cinematography is amazing with those fight sequences, and some real depth and emotional moments. drags a little bit in one place, but I understand why they did that. And by the time I got to the end, I could totally watch more of this if they do more. And talking about that, I was talking about the end credit scene at the beginning. Do watch that end credit scene. You might not quite understand where it's going, but you understand that they have an idea for another story. But this main story is complete, but it's a world that's just kind of opened up, so we can have so many more. If audiences are generated to watch this on the Netflix platform, people talk about it, then I presume we will get another season. But if it gets cancelled like almost every Netflix series, then don't worry, you'll feel satisfied in what you get here, which is why I've gone for that high score. So this is a definite must watch for me. Got a lot more entertainment reviews coming this week. Going to be dropping an anime review this week. We also go live with Movies and Munchies for our podcast video cast this week. In the UK, we start at 4 p.m. and it's going to be running for 2 hours. So if you have any burning questions about movies or anything, we're going to be doing our normal formula, but we will also be answering your questions. So I'll see you there. If you can, jump in and out whenever you can, or you can watch it on the replay like with that podcast when we normally release it on the Sunday morning. Thank you so much for watching, but most of all, until next time, remember, live long and Tuesday.